Ladies and gentlemen, it's that day of the year. It's time. It's time for the WWE Draft, the day where we decide, well, they decide, which superstars change brands, and that's always exciting. That's always been exciting to me ever since I started watching WWE. I was always looking forward to this day because back then, back when I was a kid watching WWE for the first time, they had that random draft lottery based on who won matches. So just having that sense of anybody can be traded, anybody can be sent anywhere, that was always exciting. Now we have more of an NFL draft kind of sports-centric formatted show when it comes to the draft. So it's changed a bit. It's not as exciting as it used to be, in my opinion. And again, that might change, but overall, it doesn't really matter because now I know the backstage stuff regarding the draft. Whereas when I was a kid, it was just all exciting and brand new, and I, I had, I believed everything that went on, of course. So now, with that said, who needs to change brands? Who changes to Raw? Who moves to SmackDown? Who gets called up from NXT? Those are, in my opinion, the major stories heading into tonight on SmackDown, and then following up on Monday Night Raw. Not to mention, Backlash is coming up, and they've really only announced two matches for their biggest show in history over there in Lyon, France. And I mean, in the country France, not in the company's history. So, I have to make some random picks right here, but overall, you might agree with them, you might disagree with them, but let's get started. Now, who's moving over to the Blue brand? Who's moving over to Friday Night SmackDown? And a lot of people might not be okay with this. A lot of people might be like, not this again. He just got moved over to Monday Night Raw last year. But I think we're leading towards the next chapter in the Bloodline story. So that means that main event Jey Uso is moving back to Friday nights, back to the Blue brand. Because down the line, possibly War Games, he's going to get involved in this Bloodline storyline with Jimmy Uso, with Solo Sikoa, with Tama Tonga, with a returning Roman Reigns, with a returning The Rock. Everything and anything that can happen must happen in the next year or so. And we need Jey Uso back on Friday nights for that to happen. And on that very same note, we gotta talk about the guy who put up the bait for the tribal chief Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And again, we're bringing all these stories back together. Seth frickin' Rollins, although he is inactive, he's gonna have knee surgery. There's even some discussions backstage or in the rumor mill that he might not re-sign with WWE. I don't believe that. I don't think he's going anywhere. But we need him on SmackDown. That's where Roman Reigns is. That's where Cody Rhodes is now. Again, all these stories, they need to be wrapped up in the next year or so because we got to the peak of it. We got to the mountaintop of all of these stories at WrestleMania 40 when Cody Rhodes became WWE Champion. Now, we gotta tie everything up. And for that, we need Jey Uso. For that, we need Seth freaking Rollins on the Blue brand where everyone else already is. And on the women's side of things, we gotta give Bayley, current women's champion, a real foil, a real villain that she can topple over, that she can hold her title above and actually look like $1,000,000. Now, I'm not saying that she doesn't right now, but I really don't want that to be Tiffany Stratton, and I don't see anybody else on that roster that can carry that villainous flair, no pun intended, that Bayley needs at this moment. So I'm going to go ahead and move Nia Jax to the Blue brand, and she's going to make an immediate impact on the current women's champion. Now, on that same note, who moves over to Monday Night Raw? Well, we've already moved Jey Uso to SmackDown, so why not let's create some kind of controversy. Let's create the illusion that the World Championships might change brands after Backlash. So the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, notice how I did it like LA Knight, but I don't want them feuding anymore. I think their feud, their rivalry, let's cut it right there. So AJ Styles is moving back to the red brand, back to Monday Night Raw. And basically you have both challengers on different brands, making it a possibility for both titles to be able to change brands, or maybe two titles on one brand. That could happen. Hopefully it doesn't, but I'm just trying to create that illusion for the uneducated WWE fan out there. Second pick, Sheamus is back. And frankly, what I've seen from the Irish Warrior, Celtic Warrior, I want more of, and I want more of that against the Scottish psychopath, Drew McIntyre, who needs to be entertained for the next few months while CM Punk comes back. So why not put Sheamus on the red brand and have him feud, start a rivalry with Drew McIntyre over there, and then we also have the Intercontinental Championship on the red brand. Sheamus has never won the Intercontinental Championship. He needs to win it at some point. Let's start building that story. And finally, on the women's side of things, I know there's a lot of people talking about how Becky Lynch needs to move over to Friday night because she's been on Raw for forever, 5, 6, 7 years practically, ever since 2019. I'm not of that same note. I think she stays on the red brand. I like some consistency. I like franchise superstars. And to me, franchise superstars means Becky Lynch on Raw, Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair on SmackDown. Those are your top franchise superstars for each brand. So who's moving from SmackDown to Monday Night Raw? The Monday Night Raw Women's Division, as you saw during the Battle Royal, needs kind of a kickstart. They need something. They need something with an edge on the red brand. So, red brand, Monday Night Raw, every Monday night, it's Tiffy time. And again, Tiffany Stratton is a top contender for the Women's World Championship. Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton, chasing after Becky Lynch. In the meantime, Rhea Ripley recovers. I don't know, the story writes itself right then and there. So, with that said, who gets called up from NXT to the main roster? I have 3 picks. Number 1, the most obvious pick. He's going to SmackDown. He has the SmackDown style. He could even come over as a babyface, even though he's been the top heel in NXT for a while. Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes has history with Braun Breaker. He has the charisma to carry himself on the microphone, even though he doesn't have to, because what he does in that ring is enough to give people, exactly what they paid for. And again, I wouldn't mind him coming in over as a babyface, and I firmly believe his story with Trick Williams over the NXT Championship is over. We need to end it right there. That's just my opinion. So Carmelo Hayes is heading over to SmackDown. Over on Monday Night Raw, really the only reason I'm bringing him up to the red brand, and really the only reason I'm bringing him up at all, is because I want this man versus Gunther, the Ring General, in the very near future, especially on his European tour. Ilya Dragunov. If I'm not mistaken, he recently lost the NXT Championship. You have a brand new babyface champion in Trick Williams. Give him brand new challengers. Take away Carmelo Hayes. Take away Dragunov. Give him somebody else, somebody new to play with. Give that audience somebody new to play with. So Dragunov, come over to Monday Night Raw and head after Gunther. And finally, again, the NXT Women's Division is one of the most stacked in all of wrestling nowadays, in my opinion. They have so many stars. So, to me, it only makes sense to bring over Roxanne Perez, the current NXT Women's Champion, to Monday Night Raw. And I get it. She's the current NXT Women's Champion. We've barely started her heel run. But I think it would benefit her a lot for the Raw audience to get used to her, to her character. And in the meantime, in NXT, she's doing everything she can to keep that title and keep herself on both brands. Keep as much of the spotlight on Roxanne Perez. Keep her on both shows. That is the story to tell with the current NXT Women's Champion. But again, these aren't just my picks. These are just pretty much off the top of my head. So with that said, what are your thoughts? What are your picks? What's going down tonight and what's going down on Monday Night Raw? Who's moving where? Who's getting called up? Who's getting called down? Leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions in the comment section below. With that said, my name is Alexis Carrillo. This has been Wrestling Talk, and I'll see you next time.